You can literally see this moment like on TV where we're just looking at the camera, we're like, someone help me, like, Mom, can you come get me? I'm scared.
I wanted to hide so bad, I would have crawled into the oven.
Hello everybody and welcome to a very exciting series we're starting. I'm Gaby and this is my husband Ben, and we are on a Hallmark show right now called Baked with Love. And in this series we're going to take you all behind the scenes because it was such a fun show to film, but there's a lot that happened in the kitchen and outside of the kitchen.
There's so much filming during a show like this, and so there's so much that doesn't make it to the final cut. So we're going to give you all the inside scoop about what it was like being on set, some pretty funny stories that happened behind the scenes, the trials and tribulations that we went through.
And there were many.
Yeah, so it should be fun to give you all a little sneak peek into what that experience was like.
I know, I'm so excited. So if you're watching right now, the show is airing every Monday. The first episode actually aired on October 27th, which was like 2 weeks after our baby was born. So we were very much in the newborn bubble. And this week we're going into episode 4, so week 4 of the show. And then it'll keep going through around Christmas time. So it's been so fun. We've had so many of you that have been watching and commenting and messaging us. So that has been so fun to just get to experience it with you all. And that's why we were like, we want to go deeper and share more because there's so much, like Ben said, about filming. But first we thought it'd be fun to get into how we got on the show.
Yeah, and actually, you know, so one thing is when we're on the show, Gaby was about 20 weeks pregnant. We had just done our 20-week ultrasound, so we got a peek at our baby at the time. And so we really weren't even sure if we'd be able to do this. And it all kind of started, you know, we had... who reached out to us? It was essentially like
it was one of the casting directors, and it was crazy. It was, I think you were in Columbus that week. You had like a work trip or something, and I got this message, and basically they'd found us because last year we had a video go viral on social media on my Instagram where Ben is basically winning. It was like our reaction to him winning first prize at our local Geauga County Fairs competition where he baked his carrot cake. It's our favorite cake in the world. And that video went so viral that we were like, well, let's share the recipe. So then we shared the recipe. That video also blew up. And that is how she found us. I think it was like she was looking for a recipe for Easter and saw our carrot cake and was like, oh, I'm going to message these two and see if they're interested in auditioning for the show. So I got this message and I call him immediately and I'm like, oh my gosh, like they want us to go on this show. And at the time I'd actually been watching American Idol with my mom, and I was thinking about how I used to watch the show and I wanted to be on TV so bad. And I told my mom like, oh, like I still hope someday we can be in a TV show. And it was like that night that we got this message. So that was crazy. And from there, we entered the audition process.
Yeah, and I mean, the timing of everything was a little crazy. I mean, she had just got out of her first trimester, which was a doozy. And then we were also in the process of buying a new home. And so there was a lot happening, and I think, you know, as the audition process was going on, we just kept thinking like, well, let's go for it and we'll see. And then we just kept making it through each step of the auditions, which, you know, they even had us do like a test bake at home and send them a video to show them what we could do and kind of see if we were, I think, up to snuff. And and then finally we got the call that, you know, we were going to be on. And it was really like just a couple weeks in advance of filming that they were like, okay, you'll need to be in England for this time period. And they sent it to us, and so, you know, a couple weeks later we were flying over the pond, you know, with a bunch of bacon stuff in our luggage. And it was crazy because even leading up to the show, they send you, so if you've watched the show, the first bake is a surprise challenge. We have no idea what's coming at us there. The second bake, though, is something that you get to prepare for ahead of time, or at least they tell you what the challenge will be. And so we spent like 2 weeks straight just baking every day, and it was nuts.
Baking boot camp, we called it, because it was crazy. And that audition cake was a Santa Claus cake, and we were so proud of how that turned out. Like when we first saw what that was gonna look like, we were so like, we've never made anything like this before. But you're very artistic. Like you're a great artist and I like piping, and so we kind of had a good dynamic going there. It turned out amazing.
It did. Well, it was funny because when, you know, the carrot cake and everything up to this point, it wasn't really decorative, and so when they had asked us to audition for the show, and we're like, oh, it must be all about like family recipes and flavors, and no, and they sent us the Santa cake that they wanted us to make. I was like, uh-oh, this is like a decorative show. So we were way above our pay grade, but we just kind of made it happen.
Yeah, I know. It worked out. You were thankfully the reason we did, because I love the arts, but I do not have any kind of drawing ability at all.
That's not true.
I love singing and dancing and those kind of arts, but when it comes to actually drawing things, I am not good. So you really helped our team there. We just basically like baked every single day. I mean, it was like we would work during the day, and then when it would come to evening, we would just bake
until the sun went down, and
it
then
was
some.
Crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Intense.
I was going to the store every day and just buying so much flour, powdered sugar, like blocks of cream cheese or mascarpone. Like it was just, and these were all recipes that like, you know, we were just trying to like learn, and we were given time constraints, so we knew like, oh, we have to finish this bake in 2 hours.
Yeah.
And you know, at home the first time we were doing it took probably 5-6 hours, and you're like, well, I hope we can do it when we get there. Like
oh my gosh, literally we never like felt confident about like a time restraint in what it, like some of the like practice bakes we did turned out amazing, others were very comical. It's so fun because we were at the beach when we found out that we essentially got cast in the show. It was so cool because his younger brother was like secretly filming our reactions when we found out. We were just so excited. We'd never been to England before, and we just knew that like with our baby on the way, our lives were going to look really different when our baby is born. So we just knew like this is an opportunity we've got to take advantage of.
Yeah.
And essentially we're like, okay, even if we don't place well in the show, it's a free trip to England, we'll have fun. And so we were all about it just from the get-go.
Yeah, so we packed up, flew over there, and it was actually pretty crazy. The day that we landed, which I don't know how long, it was like 7 hours of flight time, and then it was a whole day of travel. But when we landed, we essentially got the call that we had officially closed on our house here. So we ended up purchasing our house officially while we were in England, or at least closing and getting ownership of it. So
and moving cities, because we were in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and now we live right outside of Cleveland, Ohio.
Yeah.
So just so many changes happening. I was very pregnant, and now suddenly we're in the midst of being on a baking show, which was awesome. So it was a long day of travel, and when we landed, we were so tired. We drove over to the Cotswolds, and that's where we filmed. It was magical. Like, the only thing I knew about the Cotswolds was seeing the movie The Holiday. We got to the hotel, and that's when we first got to meet the other contestants, because at this point we had no idea who the other home bakers would be. And right off the bat, I was just like, I felt like I was at theater camp or something, because I was like, these are the most outgoing, charismatic, wonderful people. Like, everyone was just, I mean, we'd all just flown over from the United States, so we are all sleep deprived, and everybody was just like so excited to meet each other. It was so cute. Like, what did you think when we first met everyone?
I think all of us too, we had been doing these baking challenges for like 2 weeks, you know, at home, trying to like prepare for the show. And so all of us, I think, were like so ready to talk about like what each other's experience was like at home. Like, were you also running to the store constantly throughout the week to get more ingredients? And it was so interesting too to hear like what did you do once you made your dessert? Because we were just giving them to our neighbors, and it was so suspicious because it's the middle of summer and we're making like, you know,
Santa
hot
cakes.
Chocolate cake, like Christmas tree
every day
cakes,
on like a random Tuesday.
Exactly. And then like we started giving them to people that were just walking on our street, and I remember the one day it was like this couple.
Because they asked. Okay, we were passing out.
But so I think, you know, that was really nice too, just to kind of hear like, are you guys also just completely shocked that we're here, and was the last 2 weeks just absolutely crazy for you? And it was really cool meeting everybody, because there was a whole bunch of different people. There was a father and son, 2 moms and daughters, another married couple, 2 husbands. There were so many, a mom and a son.
Yeah. And I feel like that really set the tone when we met everybody, because at first I was expecting like, I had no idea, like, are these going to be really intense competitive people that are gonna like keep everything close to the chest and not want to get to know each other. And that was never the case. Like right off the bat, everybody was so warm and welcoming, and they were like, oh yeah, we were tanking this practice, or we were so bad at doing this one. Like everyone was just so honest and kind and relatable that I feel like it let us breathe, and we were like, okay, this is gonna be great. Like, and that was how we felt about everybody. I mean, even though it is a competition, we got so close with everyone that you really become a family, because I think people just were so excited to make friends, and it was almost like you were competing more with yourself each time than with each other. Like we were so excited for each other that the biggest thing was just you wanted to do well for the families that you were making these recipes in honor of.
Yeah, I think so. So we hit it off with the cast like immediately, and I think that even, you know, by the time we got to the end of the first episode, I mean, we were so close. So it's, you know, like all of the genuine like interaction between us, like it is very genuine because we just got so close so fast. I mean, you're going through this experience in this weird bubble that is so separated from the world because we couldn't tell anybody that we were on this show. And so, you know, it had to be remained really secret. And so, you know, for months until the show came out, all of these people were the only people that knew, you know, and that we could talk about the experience with, because, you know, nobody knew we were on this show at all.
Yeah, I think that part was just so special, was the friendships we got. And you'll see that like every week when somebody would go home, those are such real reactions we give, because that is truly in real time, like when we find out who's going home. And there was tears, there were so many hugs. Like we were so sad to lose anybody, because it felt like you were losing part of your family unit each time.
And so to talk about set a little bit, you know, when we got there, essentially they had created a baking barn, and it was this huge wedding venue that was a baking barn, and they had somehow fit 20 ovens into this place, and refrigerators and mixing stations and counters and everything. It was all just, they had built it. It was like a small village that they had built on this hill where the barn was. And so that first time walking in and getting to see set, I mean, we were mind blown. It was truly magical. Like in the show, it looks really magical and Christmassy, and it felt like that when you were in there, even though it was 75 degrees out, which is so cool.
It was stunning. I'd never seen anything like that. Like it was, I mean, the Hallmark Channel we know is like amazing for making moments just feel so whimsical and magical, especially at Christmas time. And I felt like we got to live that. Like entering that barn, seeing the set, it was incredible.
Yeah.
Like it was so special. I think I cried, which was one of many times that I will cry on the show.
Yeah, I mean, it was overwhelming. There were cameras everywhere. I mean, they had, we called it the dinosaur camera, and it was this big camera that was on a crane. So that one was always ominous and watching you. And then they had, you know, producers everywhere and people that were miking you up, and it was crazy. You know, so we're doing, right off the bat, I mean, right away they started filming. We were doing, you know, sit-down interviews. And one thing that was kind of crazy about that, do you remember during our sit-down interview, they just like, everybody stopped all of a sudden, and the sound guy was like, yeah, we need to pause. And we were just like, oh, okay.
Yes.
And he could hear tapping on the roof because it was just raining, just barely. Yeah.
Yes.
And it was that sensitive. And so, you know, when it was crazy, so much is going on and there's so many people involved. And so it was kind of cool to see like the little things like that, you know, you don't realize are going on in the show.
It was so fun too, because our very first producer that was interviewing us was Dave. We love Dave. And then Dave ended up being our like main producer with our team the entire time we were there, and he was just the best. And you also don't see how close we get with all of the crew.
Yeah, you really on the show are living inside a bubble. I mean, it's like this whole village of people.
And one of my absolute favorite parts of the behind the scenes experience, the welfare team.
Oh yeah.
They're amazing. I didn't even know that this existed, and I don't know if it's with every movie, with every show, but we had a team called the welfare team where we had 3 or 4 of them that were just basically there to make sure that all of the contestants were being taken care of. We're having meals, we're
transportation,
getting water. Yeah, we're just feeling supported and encouraged. And for me, being pregnant, it was the best thing in the world. We got so close with them. They were the best people.
Yeah, and they took extra good care of Gaby too, which was great. And I felt like that even from our first day on the set. Like, it was everybody was on the same page about making sure that, Gaby was safe and healthy. And so as stressful as it got there, I did feel like we were pretty well taken care of and you were well taken care of. So
yeah, because that was something I was really worried about. I was like, oh my gosh, this is my first time being pregnant, and now I'm in a different country, and I'm on a very high stakes TV show with long film hours. So I was really nervous about just how pregnancy wise it was going to go, and it was amazing. They took better care. I said there, I was like, you're taking better care of me here than I take care of myself when I'm home. So it was just amazing. For me, one of the most exciting moments when we first got there was because the big thing was like, who's our host gonna be? We knew it would be like someone wonderful, but we had no idea who it would be. And I remember you coming in the barn, like when we were like getting ready, and you were like, I think I know who the host is going to be. I saw a mic pack and it says Vaughn on it. You were like, Vince Vaughn.
Vince Vaughn. I mean, he's been in like Fred Claus. I mean, he gives comedy
Santa.
Christmas. But no, it was not Vince Vaughn. But I still called Vaughn in my head Vince Vaughn for like most of the time we were there. So
yeah, so walking into the barn, we fully expected that Vince Vaughn was going to be there and he was going to be the host. But when I tell you we walked in and I saw Tamara Mowry, I was freaking out. I've literally seen every episode of Sister Sister. I love 17 again that they were in. Like, they're just so iconic. So glad that Tamara was our host because she is just like, every time that we got stressed, she is the best laugh in the world. She's so warm. She's so bubbly and encouraging. And so that was like, I was so starstruck though to get to see her.
And our station was right up front. So Tamara was right next to us. So we got to chat with her, day one a good bit, which is pretty cool. I think she fell in love with Gaby immediately. So that feeling was mutual between the two of them. Yeah.
I love you, Tamara.
The setup of the show, then, we'd get there early in the morning, and it was like a hurry up and wait situation. We'd get there, you spend a lot of time kind of waiting, they come around, hook up your mics. The first challenge rolled around, though, is so nerve-wracking because that's the surprise challenge. So every episode has a surprise challenge, which they just throw something at us that we don't know ahead of time, and then the second bake of the day is always the ultimate bake, which is something that we got to practice ahead of time. But the surprise ones were just so nerve-wracking because you'd go in and you have no plan. You're just kind of hoping whatever they throw at you, we could pull something out. And so the very first challenge, I thought was a tough one to start with. They did pies, and I've never made pie before.
Never. I've made a few pies. Like your grandma and I made her apple pie, but definitely nowhere that I would have felt confident making one on TV.
What did they give us? An hour and a half, maybe?
I don't even know if it was that yet. I feel like it was just an hour.
It was so short. And yeah, there were so many things went wrong in this case. But essentially, when they give you the first bake, the surprise bake, they'll give you one part of the recipe. So in this case, they gave us a pie crust that we had to use. And then beyond that, you just have to figure out the rest. So you had to figure out what to put inside it.
And then they give you supplies. So like for this one, they gave us these beans. And you see, we consider ourselves pretty good bakers, but we actually had never seen these before. They're baking beans. And apparently they're very commonly used when you make pies, which we had not really done.
I've never heard of this.
I remember after we finished that challenge, we went back and we're like talking with the other contestants, and they're like, oh man, I messed up the beans, or I didn't do this with the beans. And I was looking at them and I was like, what beans? Like, what are you even talking about? Like, I didn't even know what the beans were for, let alone that we could have messed them up. So that was definitely not our brightest moment. And for the show to start out with that was devastating because we both were just like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, and plus you don't really see what everyone else is doing. Everybody is so focused on their own bake. And the way it's set up is they didn't really show it too much, but on the back wall of the barn, there was a huge just pantry.
What they call it, food pantry.
Yeah, the food pantry. It was so full of just every ingredient you could think of. So there's
magical.
If you wanted to do a meat pie, there was piles of meat, and then they had all these fruits and desserts. And so, we were like, okay, we'll do a bumbleberry pie. It was the one pie I feel like we knew.
Yeah, because it's our favorite to eat. So we were like, oh, we love eating it. It couldn't be that hard to make it.
Plus, we had my grandma Katie's recipe for her bumbleberry pie. So my grandma was Amish. And so this is like an Amish recipe that she brought over, but she essentially ran away from the Amish community to marry my grandpa. Which
scandalous.
It was very scandalous. They call it yank over, which means that she went over and became a Yankee, like my grandpa, and so they got married. And but she has all these great recipes, and so we thought, okay, we'll have this pie as a nice tribute to grandma. And it was not a nice tribute.
No, it was devastating. And when you watch it, you'll see we had a lot of things go wrong. Number one, our oven was not turned on. And so with it being a time challenge, like we lost so much time right there. And that was devastating. You can literally see this moment like on TV where we're just looking at the camera. We're like, someone help me. Like, Mom, can you come get me? I'm scared.
I wanted to hide so bad. I would have crawled into the oven if it was big enough. It was so...
I at one point crawled into the freezer pretending to look for something, but really I was like, I just want to hide from the cameras.
Yeah. So it was a tough challenge. I noticed they really were keying in on my arms. And
how could you not be?
Well, I'm rolling this dough, and I have no idea. So first off, they told us that we had to have a double pastry pie or whatever they called it. So they had to be pastry on the bottom, pastry on top. Well, they just gave us a pastry recipe that we probably should have doubled. I'm trying to roll this thing enough that we can get enough dough, and so I just keep rolling it, and the judges are kind of like looking at me, and I know I'm not supposed to be doing this, but I mean, it's already too late, and so by the time we got to the judges judging this pie, I knew it was going to come up, and Anna is like, yeah, I think you overrolled it, and that was the only compliment that we got.
Yeah, we didn't get a single compliment in that bake except that Ben had big
about
muscles.
My arms, yeah. So right off the bat, they were really kind of keen in on that twice, and they do it again in this episode too.
We were the muscle category, the muscle team.
They really wanted to tell a story, but after this first bake, I would say we were pretty certain we were on the bottom, and then the judges confirmed that for us by telling us we were on the bottom. So then after the first bake, we knew we're at the bottom. The judges made sure we knew that. We were in a tough spot, and so we knew we just had to bring our A game for the second bake. But the second bake, which is called the ultimate bake, that's the one we got to prepare for ahead of time. In this case, it was a Yule log, which I've never seen in my life.
Never seen it, never had heard of it.
No, it's got to be very British or something, but it is literally like a cake that looks like a log that would be in your fire. That was a unique one to make because you literally roll the cake, and that's kind of a tough thing to do because if it's too dry, it cracks, and if it's too heavy, you got a soggy bottom, or it collapses and you don't get the swirl, and there was just a lot that we had to figure out for that one. I thought it was kind of a tough one to start with.
Yeah, I thought that was definitely a really hard one, and I also feel like the reason we didn't know of all of this is I feel like you are like a baking protege, where we don't have the years of experience that other teams had, but you just started baking a couple years ago and then just became incredible. That's why
that's generous, but thank you.
It's true. He's so humble, so he won't say it, but I will. But you literally have blown up on so many videos on social because of your epic cakes that you make. And so it's we don't know the terminology or the recipes from just baking for years, but I feel like you have this skill that you just discovered recently. And so that's why it was crazy. Our Yule log turned out amazing, and I very much took a back seat of that because you just were killing it.
The fun thing with each recipe is we kind of contributed different things. So we had this banana syrup that went on top, and she had been making those to put in her coffee every day. So we just had things that just kind of from life that made it into our recipes, and so some of them were these great family stories, and some of them were just things that you and I had made up. Yeah, so
literally one of our favorite traditions is from us starting to date back in 2018 to now, we have cooked every single meal usually for dinner together. That's one of our favorite things to do. We love cooking together. We recently then got into baking together, and so it's just been so fun to do that together. It's been a big part of our relationship. We love to eat. Food is one of our love languages. So that was so fun, especially me being pregnant. And sadly later in pregnancy I got gestational diabetes and could not have sugar anymore.
Really
but at this time, I'm still over it. But at this time I could have all the sugar I wanted. So this is a dream to get to have this.
Let's talk about our impressions of the Ultimate Bakes. All right, so like I might have mentioned, when we're doing our bakes, you are so locked in on your bake, so you don't really know what's going on with everybody. And so watching the show back and kind of seeing people that were having difficulty or people that weren't, amazingly, it was kind of cool to see that after the fact. But for us, we're seeing people's Yule logs as they're being presented to the judges in front of us for the first time, and so I think we were just realizing, oh my gosh, there are some really talented people here. I remember Amy and Sally, they had used marzipan and
it was gorgeous. We did not know what marzipan was
too,
but because they used it, Ben, because you're so like, you're such a good artist, you're good at like creating things, you became really good at marzipan.
Yeah, I do.
So shout out Amy and Sally for that.
Yeah, shout out. And then I mean, even Marco and Steven, they had like little mushrooms on their log.
Yes.
And then I always think
of salmon with their chocolate.
Yeah.
We called them like the Willy Wonkas because
Yeah.
they would always like, especially at first, they did so many chocolate desserts and they all were so good.
Yeah, our station was in front of Rosa and Rosanna. And so, you know, we're in like full panic mode, like just trying to get the bake done, get stuff out. And behind us, you could hear those two, you know, they're so calm and collected. Like they're doing this all the time. Like they're just chipper and they're like, oh, could you pass me that? And meanwhile, like, we're like, is the oven on? Yeah, it was so chaotic. And so, you know, when we got up there, we knew theirs was gonna look really good.
And then one of our favorite moments, and this did not make the cut, and we were so sad, was Kristen and Debbie. It was the cutest thing. So they made a lobster Yule log in honor of their heritage from Maine, and it was the cutest lobster. And when the judges were about to slice into the lobster, Kristen and Debbie go, no, don't eat me, no. And it was so funny. It reminded me of the shrimp from Shark Tale, which is my beloved. And it was so funny.
And also,
we were like cracking up.
That's the magic too of TV, of like, you know, they probably cut to the lobster at that point anyway, because we were laughing in the background and like half of us were. It was so funny. It was like just perfect comedic timing. And yeah, so that, and then the Fabios, you know, the Fabios had a tough time. It was funny because day of, we didn't get to see it. So watching the episode back, I could see, you know, some of the issues that they had during their baking. It was like, you know, the same issues that we had when we practiced it. Like it under that time constraint, it was so hard.
It was such a technical challenge. Like, I don't know how much people knew that watching it. Like, you had, like, when you rolled that cake, you didn't want to crack, so you had to get it at the perfect temperature. You had to have like a moist towel.
But R.I.P. Fabios, they were incredible. Actually, when they were doing their presentation, it was awesome because Fabio Jr. just like leaned into it, and he's like, we call this the Low Country Stump. And he's like, and this got cut from the show, but he's like, we wanted it to look like the stump in our grandparents' backyard. And he goes, and this is exactly what that stump looks like. And I mean, it was so funny, and they just kind of owned it, leaned into it.
Best.
It was. And so when they left, it was tough. We did get to see them because they did like a media day filming after this episode. And so
yes, we got to hang with them for more days, which thank goodness, because literally we love them. Shout out the Fabios. Yeah. Fabio Sr., his dream is to open up a coffee shop. They're from Texas, so I hope he does.
Yeah.
I will literally do anything to help him make his dreams come true.
Oh yeah, and even the fans just seem to like love the Fabios.
Yes.
How could you not? I would love to see them again on my TV for sure.
Same.
Yeah.
I will always want to watch the Fabios.
Yeah, but it was a roller coaster in the first episode for sure. I feel like going home that night after this episode, we just felt like, oh my God, what did we sign up for? Like, it was so crazy. And I remember being in bed that night and we were just Googling recipes because we were like, who knows what they're going to throw at us.
Yeah, for the surprise, because you don't know and you aren't allowed to, like, you know, have something written down if you didn't already prepare it. So we were just trying to like memorize anything possible that they could do. At one point, I remember us like trying to memorize all the steps of tempered chocolate because we were like, maybe that's gonna be the surprise. It wasn't, but we didn't know that. And but it was just the craziest adrenaline. Like I just could not stop thinking about baking. Like, it was the biggest motivator in the world. Like, I was just like, we gotta go home, we gotta prepare, we gotta be the best bakers we can out there.
Yeah, and I think too, our goal was like, we just didn't want to go home the first episode, which I think everyone was thinking the same thing. And so even at this point, we were like, okay, we did that, but let's just see where we can go. Yeah, and you know, I think it was just kind of cross our fingers that the surprise challenge wouldn't get us. That didn't work. So yeah, it was a crazy first episode, but we made it through. We were heading on to episode 2, which we'll discuss in our next video.
Yes. Yeah. If you're not already watching, definitely tune in. So there are new episodes that are going to be airing, I believe, through December 15th, but then they're also all recorded on Hallmark Plus. So go back, watch the episodes, let us know what you think when you watch episode 1. I know we sent you all through a roller coaster there, and we were in one for ourselves. I wish I could say we were doing it for the plot, but just wait till you get to week 2 if you haven't already seen that one, and watch our next video where we recap that one.
Yeah, tune in and cheer us on.
Yes. All right. See y'all later. Bye.